Back in 1981, when I graduated high school, I treated myself to a graduation present. I went into the local sporting goods store and I purchased a Buck 110. This is a 3-dot, 440C steel, ebony handles. I was lucky in that I got bank vault lockup, nice centered blade, nice even grinding and hafting. The only thing I've done to modify this knife is round the heavy brass surfaces for a couple of reasons. Well, also on the sides. Check that. I rounded every edge. Okay? That was so that it was more comfortable to carry and preserves the life of the sheath. Now, this is not the original sheath because this has a logo from the 90s, but I liked the logo. This one had nice thick leather, especially on the belt loop, which is a place where they seem to fail a lot. And that slips in there, Lacey, and it's good to go. If you didn't make note of how I put that in there, there really is only one way, one correct way to do it. If you want to learn more, seriously, there are people that don't know how to do that. Watch this video. It idiot proofs it. You will not ruin your sheath if you watch that video. You may have heard me say 3-dot. I often get asked, "Hey, Tom, how do I know how old my buck knife is?" Well, every knife has a unique stamping, symbol, sign, something or other on it, in addition to the word buck. Google, how do I date my buck? If you get something that says, well, the first thing you're going to do is turn down the lights, pour a little Cabernet, little incense, you're on the wrong site. What you want to see is a chart that shows a bunch of symbols. And just find the symbol that's on your knife in the chart, and that'll tell you the year. So there. 18-year-old Tom walked into the sporting goods store with about $25. I think the knife cost $22 with tax and all that good stuff. I got change back. I realize that is a long time ago. But when you think about it, back in 2018 and into 2019 a little bit, at Walmart, a buck knife was $36 and then $38. Right around there. And it would fluctuate. It's kind of weird. Right after COVID hit, I'm going to say 2020, the price of a buck knife shot up to $60, $65. That's crazy, but still not out of reach. Well, this week I happened to be in a Walmart and I walked to the sporting goods department, and just for fun, I thought I would look in the knife case, see what they have. They've got Kershaw, and they've got some case knives, and a couple Swiss Army knives, and a Buck 119, and oh, look at that, a Buck 110. They usually have them. And I was about to ask the young fellow behind the counter, hey, can I see that? So that I could compare the ebony scales and see if it was something I might want to get. Then I saw the price, $90 and change. And I said, oh, never mind. No way. No way. That is not a $90 knife. And when you think about it, $90 plus tax and all that good stuff, it's practically a $100 knife. I'm sorry, Buck. The Buck 110 is not a $100 knife. No, it is not. It might be for someplace overseas where it had to go on a ship or an airplane and customs duties and taxes and fees and have to pay off this person and that person just to sell that knife in your store. Yeah, it might be $100 or more. In the U.S., no. Can't do it. I can't pull the trigger on a $100 Buck 110, especially when quality control is marginal at best. That is why I emphasize always get one that's in a box so that you can test the lockup, test the wobble. Look down the center of the knife, see if it was hafted straight. Most of them are at an angle. See if the blade lines up centered. See if it has nicely matched handles. Now, for a $35 knife, you cannot be too incredibly picky. For a $100 knife, you most certainly can be picky and want that knife to be damn near perfect. Buck isn't making the 110 exponentially better. It's just exponentially more expensive. Why? I have a hunch that we weren't going to dance. Do you think any of you would happen to know where that line comes from? Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, where was I? Damn it, I hate it when that happens. My hunch. I believe it was the early part of this past summer, Buck came out with a new line of knives. More high-tech. One-hand openers. Axis lock. New fancy schmancy handle materials. High-tech blade steels. I'm not sure how that went for them. I know that my video wasn't real favorable because of a few things. I'm not going to rehash all of it. If you want to see what I had to say, watch that video. I haven't watched any other videos or reviews or comments about that because, first of all, I didn't want to be swayed prior to my making that video. And two, I'm not that interested. I'm interested in other knives. I like seeing other reviews of Chris Reeve knives and Benchmade knives and Spyderco knives and Mora knives and Castrum knives and all of those other things, but not that particular Buck knife. Other Buck 110 videos I enjoy. Those knives, I couldn't care less. And I wonder if this is a big push, having the price go astronomically higher to cover maybe the losses that they might be suffering from that line of knives. I know it had to cost a pretty penny to design, prototype, make the machinery, buy all of the materials, market those knives. That hurts a company. It takes quite a while to recover from something like that. And if the thing that you spent all that money on isn't selling, something else in your line has to cover the slack. I think in this case, it's the 110 picking up the slack. Now, question for Buck. Anybody from Buck out there watching this? Because I have done a lot of nice videos about you guys. Maybe you've heard of me, maybe not, doesn't matter. But when you think Buck knife, somebody says Buck knife, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Again, here it is. That's the first thing that pops in your head. You go, oh yeah, Buck 110. I mean, you could have a Schrade LB7 in your hand. Somebody's going to say, oh, you got a Buck knife. The other knife that's going to pop into your head is this, the 119. Now, this one is a 75th anniversary edition. It has that logo on it, which I think is pretty cool. And burgundy phenolic handles. Phenolic? Phenolic? Felony? Burgundy handles. I have modified it. I lowered the top guard and made it more of a ramp and lowered or shortened the bottom guard and slanted that just a wee bit. Still debating whether or not I want to put a thong hole in there. But I use this knife. I enjoy this knife. I really like this knife. It is 420 HC, which I think in the large spectrum of steels, it's about here. I can't think of anything that might be lower. So maybe right there. It's not a super steel. It's not that great. But they heat treat it nicely. It does what it's supposed to do. And for a $75 knife, this one was probably $100 because of the anniversary part and the handle. It does well. If you buy a buck 110 today, you're getting 420 HC. I mean, it works well. It gets the job done. Doesn't hold an edge that great, but it's super sharp when you get it sharp. This 3-dot, 440C, and ebony handles, which, by the way, haven't budged since 1981, and I do nothing to treat them. Bottom line, if you are a hardcore buck knife enthusiast and you want to buy a buck knife and you've saved your pennies, yes, get yourself a 110. It will serve you well. There's tons of guys out there who've been carrying the same knife for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Not too shabby. But if you want something that's got just a little bit more in the durability department, because come on, face it, these tips have a tendency to break off. I have lost track of how many knives I've seen at flea markets and garage sales and antique stores where about that much of the knife is missing. If you want something that's more modern and you can one hand open and one hand close and has a really solid lockup and that sort of thing, look into the other knife companies. The Conspirator. Wow. Thanks for letting me vent and air this out. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.